And we are live. So let's see, it's been a while. Today we're talking a live stream with Lukas Hasler again. It's been a while. It used to be our little thing. We all had a lot of things to do. Let's see. Why is it not working? Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hi. How are
So
you
good to see
doing?
you. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Wonderful. Isn't that great? Over the whole world connected.
Definitely, for sure. Where are you based right now?
I'm in Florida right now, in
Right.
Naples. Yeah,
Yeah,
the weather's awful here, but the temperatures are fine. I'm going to play a concert tonight,
cool.
so that's the reason why I'm here, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon
Cool.
here. Where,
I mean, there's no reason to complain about the weather in comparison to Stuttgart. Everything is raining right now
so
here
I
in
assume
Germany.
you're in Stuttgart, right?
Correct. I'm at home right now, trying to prepare everything what's coming up this year. So yeah, but it's very good to talk to you. It's been so long. Actually,
Wonderful.
I was wondering when was our last live stream? Do you remember?
I honestly I can't remember. I think it was in fall last year. I mean, it was definitely last year, but probably fall or even summer. Yeah, I
I
know.
think it
Then you had
was
so much to
somewhere
do.
around summer. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, so yeah, we had no chance, but it's good that we could start again in the new year.
Right.
And yeah, wonderful. How are you doing? I mean, I see you're touring.
Yeah, I was touring a lot last year actually. I was traveling to so many different places and played never played so many concerts before actually like last year. So it was a great year, and I'm very much looking forward for what's coming up now in 2024. I still need to learn this date. But yeah, you had huge steps as well. You were moving to America to study there. So yeah, let's get a little insight. What did you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, well, I moved to LA last summer. So it's almost half a year now. And well, but I'm going back and forth between Austria and LA. But currently it would be a bit warmer in LA, but I'm fine. I'm
For sure.
going back to LA tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a wonderful time here. Lots of people, lots of new people, of course, lots of work, lots of concerts. So I'm kind of grateful that we have the opportunity also to talk to you, of course, and also that we both got these new opportunities for this last year.
Right.
And of course, what is coming like next, which will be like this year. And I heard that you're gonna like play lots of concerts this year in order to promote your new CD, right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, so it had to be a while because we never talked about the CD. So my album, my first solo album, came out last year in summer in June. So yeah, it's been actually a really long while. The last time we did the live stream together. So yeah,
True.
I did the solo recording together with Hasler Classic, which is one of the major labels here in Germany, and BR Classic, which is like a radio broadcast station. And yeah, I was touring because of the CD to promote the album. I was touring a lot, played a lot of concerts, and yeah, I'm super thankful on how you guys people yeah accepted my little baby that I put out in the world. So yeah, I'm really thankful about all these nice comments I got.
That's
Right.
wonderful. Congratulations
Thank,
on that. I mean,
thank
I
you.
guess it's a hard way. I mean, I recorded my first CD in 2019 and I can still remember that it's really not the recording itself. I mean, this is also a lot of work, but also the organizing or to organize everything
Right.
to get all the contracts on track. Uh, it's really a
It's a lot of
challenge, I
work,
assume.
for sure. It's a lot of work. So I was doing my first CD together with my violinist friend from Munich, Philip Jonas. back in 2020, and it came out in 21. So in the middle of COVID. So yeah, I had a little experience already, but now to do it all by myself was challenging, but also I learned a lot. And yeah, the most important thing is on how everything turned out. And yeah, I'm very happy about that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
Cool.
also did a little Q&A in our stories. And since
Exactly.
we're already talking about the CD, there was actually a question about both of us. How many CDs did you guys release yet? Do you want to start?
And technically, I released I released 2.5 CDs.
2.5
Technically.
CDs.
No, so it's one solo CD and two CDs with children's
Cool.
choirs and some other ensembles, I'd say, where I was just part of it. But I only released like one solo CD, and I'm currently still planning, because of my move now here to LA. I'm still planning on my second CD, and I hope it'll be ready soon. So
Good
yeah,
to hear.
stay tuned. And you? I mean, you said two CDs so far, right?
Two CDs so far, right? So the first album together with my violinist called Claire de Lune. And the second album, my first solo album, came out last year with the title Gloaming. And currently, during COVID, I started a little series called Home Series, where I recorded a few singles from home, from my place with good equipment. And we're actually reviving that together with Philip and put out a lot of singles, a lot of recordings. The last one came out last week,
That's
actually, and the next one is
on
coming out.
Spotify, right?
Spotify, right, right.
Cool.
No Apple Music, unfortunately, because we didn't record it with a label, and Apple Music and classical music is a bit tough to manage as an artist privately. So yeah, Spotify and the rest besides Apple Music, you can watch that. And actually, next Friday, so today in a week, will be our second release together. And yeah, there's a lot to come because we, yeah, really
That's
want to revive the concept.
cool. That's great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good opportunity, especially for us young artists, to release something on Spotify. So I also
right.
started to release some of my older tracks, and I'm quite happy that it's possible now, quite easily possible to put
Right.
them and release them on Spotify, which really is cool. So you have something out there also besides reels nowadays or YouTube videos.
Sure.
No, but because people really like to listen to the music and not only, watch our Instagram profiles.
Right. Plus, I think also because our plan is to record a few pieces there that wouldn't make it probably on a actual CD together with a label, because they're short, fun pieces. Some of them are really famous. Some of them are not famous at all. Some of them are transcriptions where you don't really know who wrote the transcription, so it's difficult to put it on an actual CD. So yeah, I think everyone should experiment with a lot of different concepts. And yeah, it was an idea that I had during COVID, where playing concert was difficult to say the least. So yeah, I created myself a little
But
playground there.
that's a good idea. I really
Yeah,
liked it. Yeah. And by the way, I also got some questions for us.
great.
For example, let's start with the first. Which piece in your repertoire do you find the most challenging but also rewarding to perform during concerts, for example?
Um, well, it's difficult to say. I guess it's probably the same for you because every time you start a new piece, most of the pieces can be quite challenging. But as soon as you really digged into them and practiced that a lot, and also performed a lot on stage, it kind of shifted that you really start to enjoy playing this piece and being on stage. So not that you didn't enjoy it before, of course, but it switches. the difficulty definitely switches. So I would say last year, for example, it was the Schubert Wanderer Fantasy that I recorded on CD as well, because this piece is really, really huge. Like it's a four movement piece, and it's quite challenging to play technically on the piano. So yeah, I would probably say the Schubert Wanderer Fantasy. But what about
Mhm.
you? How would you say?
I would say all works. I mean, he did not write so much for the organ, but all works by Liszt.
Oh yeah,
Franz Liszt is
yeah,
always kind of hard to play, probably sometimes hard to listen also for the audience, but very rewarding, and people in the end really loves it. They love it. And for example, today I'm gonna end my concert with BACH by Liszt,
great,
so I'm looking forward to it.
great.
Couple of hours. So I think Liszt would be my composer. Yeah.
Did you play the B minor sonata by him?
I Liszt,
Yeah,
no, well, I think there are still transcriptions out there already.
but
No, I
but
didn't. I
isn't there
didn't.
one from Liszt himself? Because I
Not
thought
that I,
actually Liszt wrote one.
not that
Okay,
I
maybe
know
then
of,
I can
honestly.
mix it up.
Uh-huh. No, probably. I think it must be a transcription, but Liszt ad nos, for example,
Yeah,
or Weineklagen and so on. So there are
yeah,
lots of major works he wrote, and really long works, like
definitely, for
15
sure,
minutes up to 35 minutes.
for
So
sure.
like real big ones.
Yeah, I really
Um,
want to dig into his transcriptions from his Beethoven, how do you say, symphonies.
mhm.
Um, Not every transcription works on the piano, in my opinion, because, like, for example, in the Ninth Symphony, it's just too big to handle on the piano. But for example, his first and his fifth symphony, the transcription are really, really great, but so challenging to play. So maybe one day
Yeah,
we'll see.
because you have to
We'll see.
play all the voices and all, the notes which
Sure,
different instruments would play otherwise. So it's
sure,
it's really a kind of challenging thing, of
sure.
course, yeah, also for the organ. But I think this is also the future, like transcriptions. I mean, they were already there. So in the 1900s, I mean, transcriptions were kind of a very common
Mm,
form. Nowadays, they are coming back,
mhm.
which I think is really good because we can extend our repertoire, which I think is really needed, desperately needed, because otherwise everyone plays the whole stuff, There are so many concert
Yeah,
pieces,
yes,
but
yes,
in
yes.
the end, it's always like the same 50 pieces and that's it. So
Right.
therefore, I think it's quite good for us young not organists, but young
Musicians.
pianists, organists, or artists in general,
Yeah,
to discover, I would say,
right.
new transcriptions or even old transcriptions. I mean, there are
Yeah.
so many good, especially for the organ. There are lots of old, I mean, with old from the 80s till 1900s, very good transcriptions, which are not so often played. So it's
Mm.
really cool to learn them.
For sure, it's so interesting to discover different pieces and to really dig into the character of different instruments as well, because we both have the luxury of being not only a melodical instrument, but we can be our own orchestra by itself and to try to imitate different instruments, try to phrase how a singer would phrase or how a violinist would play with the bow, for example. uh, you learn a lot of things as well.
Exactly.
That is
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yes, that's for sure.
And
Well, let's move on to the next question, or do you want to, do you have one?
should we
Yeah,
just
please, then
switch back
go
and forth
ahead.
like we did before? So yeah, we teased it a bit already, but one of my questions was the summary of 2023. What were your main things that you achieved? What did you like about it? Maybe what didn't you like about it? So give us a little summary.
Wow. Well, 2023 was a year full of changes in every single part of my life, I'd say. So privately, also locally, I moved. Also, I changed universities. I finished my studies in Austria, in Europe. I started my new DMA doctoral program in the United States, in California, in LA. I got new jobs because, of course, for me as an organist, I also play for Sunday services, which I really like to do because this is something completely different compared to what you're usually do, like playing concerts. I traveled a lot, saw Australia for the first time in my life, which was
Sure, I
also
remember.
wonderful. Went to Kazakhstan and all different countries. There was really a year fully packed, and also a year of lots of decisions, I'd say. I really hope that 2024 is easier on decision making and yeah, that it'll be a bit smoother. I mean, I was quite happy with 23, but probably it could be like next year could be a bit more stable, I'd say. I'll put it that way. So, how was your year?
Well, a lot of things happened as well. I mean, I didn't move countries, but yeah, as I said before, I never played so many concerts like last year ever in my life. Learning how to travel all the time was also a new thing that you actually really have to learn. Then I was on TV for a few times, which was crazy as well. First live talk that I did, and then they filmed a portrait about my work, my life on yeah, television, which was crazy. Then my CD, and then at the end of 2023, in I think November, I got promoted to be a Steinway artist, which was really, really a great achievement that I was dreaming about because like since 2015, I think I was a young Steinway artist, and now to be able to call myself Steinway artist is yeah, crazy. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward and digging together into more collaborations and stuff together with Steinway. Very much looking forward for that. So yeah, that was my 2023.
Because you were talking about having your first live talk on TV. I mean, how was it? Because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, just speaking is easier because I don't have to be prepared, like really prepared because I know myself and I know what I'm talking about. But when it comes to this point that you're sitting backstage and waiting, till they let you into the studio and place everything and then it's they count down and then
Hmm.
it's your life. And this is something which um I'm not completely used to it yet.
Well, it takes time, of course, but I don't know. I'm such a curious person, so yeah. Well, it's difficult to describe, but I really, really enjoyed it a lot, and I was so much looking forward for it. And of course, most of the time there's also rehearsal before, so you kind of know on uh, what will happen. Kind of. I mean, they don't ask you the same exact questions, for example, but you kind of know the direction already. You can prepare yourself. So yeah, and I think also the environment is very important. I was lucky enough to have great people there who took care of me. So yeah, I just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good.
But
That's
yeah,
really good. But in the end, life is life, first of all.
of
And what I
course.
also experienced is that it's really busy behind the scenes. Like
True.
they have to switch cameras and staff and I don't know what, and they jump from one topic to the other, and you are one of it. And
Mm,
so it's really stressful behind the scenes. And I think it probably helps to play concerts because you're kind
mm,
of used to it, being focused, concentrated, and then be just on point when you have to be. But it's always a kind of new experience to me. I mean, I like it too,
for sure.
of course, but it's something. I mean, I really guess you have to have good nerves, really.
For sure. I mean, it was crazy to actually see on how many people are involved in a set like that because I didn't expect it because backstage, for example, there were a lot of people just for the
Mm.
guests that were responsible to take care and make coffee and stuff. Not that I cannot do it myself, but there was placed one person then in the how do you say regie in English? Like where
The
you,
producer's room.
yeah, producer's room. There were like 5 to 6 people as well. Then in the studio himself, you have a lot of cameras, so every camera operator was there. Then for the audio stuff, and then a producer who like coordinates everything. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't expect so many people.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what it is. I mean, this is TV,
True,
something completely different to this
true,
here,
true.
where you just have a phone and then let's go.
Yeah.
Well, I also had something regarding to our topic, and this is, can you share or can you both share something behind the scenes challenges you faced while touring that the audience might not be aware of?
Uh,
Tell me
uh,
more.
tell me more. So yeah, well, traveling itself, like the craziest experience last year, I had with the Deutsche Bahn, like with our railway system. If you're not familiar, we kind of joke about that because there was one place that I had to travel to, which usually takes like 3.5 hours by train. But for the first stop itself, which is like 45 minutes, it took me already 4 hours. So yeah, I was constantly checking the app on when I'm gonna arrive, and it was like uh, pain in the ass. And at the end, to a long story short, I arrived 15 minutes before my concert, so I had to change backstage, and without rehearsal or anything, I ran on stage, which was an open air concert, something that you don't do every day as well. So yeah, that was yeah, quite a challenge. And on the way back, I had a 4 hour delay, I think, as well, which wasn't that bad because I didn't have an appointment. I mean, obviously it's annoying, but yeah, that was probably the craziest thing. And when you arrive on stage and your concert is about to start, uh, the challenge is fake it till you make it, to not let the audience feel and see how stressed you are, because you, for I don't know, 6 hours you constantly check the check the train app on when you arrive, and then you just have to perform.
Mhm.
So challenges like that can be tough. Also, if the instrument is not as you expected, for example, if the acoustics in the hall is not as expected, um, if something's missing backstage that you need, for example, I was doing a lot of educational concerts last year, 6 or 7 of them, and in one of the concerts there was a microphone missing, for example. So you get stressed trying to organize that 2 minutes before you have to go on stage. Yeah, challenges like that the audience hopefully will not see, because at the end of the day, um, you have to put on your show. What about you? What would you say?
Well, I almost had the same experience as you. I arrived here in Florida 29 hours later than expected
Great.
because we had snowstorms in Mississippi where I went first to play a concert. And the snowstorm, I originally had to fly into Houston and from
Mhm.
Houston to Fort Myers, like to Florida. And the snowstorm, first of all, on Monday, stuck or was next to or was in Houston, and then it went over to Jackson to Mississippi. So I stuck there for, well, 1.5 days. But I finally made it, which is good in the end. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. This is something, or what I also really quite often have or had are ciphers. I mean, this is probably something pianists don't really know or hopefully don't know. It's that a note stuck.
Mm.
or that something isn't working because, all these technical difficulties of an instrument, especially an organ, especially if it's bigger, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we first of all set up all the different sounds and colors we wanted to use for a piece called registration. So we register first and you save it on a computer, more or less, which is integrated into the instruments. And sometimes they have problems, or it doesn't or didn't save the whole thing at all. Sometimes it's just a mess, and then you turn off the organ, you turn it on again, and all of a sudden everything's gone.
Yeah.
So then you really have to improvise. So there's a lot of work beforehand in a organ concert because you have to prepare everything. So that's also the reason, and probably that's the biggest difference between us. That you kind of can arrive a bit later than me because you don't
For
have
sure.
to register anything, even
For
though
sure.
you have to adapt yourself to this new instrument, as I have to do. But organists usually have to, yeah, once again, prepare everything and set up all the colors and registers and stops they wanted to use. And this takes just more time. The good thing about my travel experience this weekend was that my concert is like today, which is Friday. And I traveled here, originally should have traveled here on Monday. So it was Tuesday, so I had plenty of time. The
Mm.
weather is not so great here, even though I would have loved to see some more, do some sightseeing, which wasn't that possible due to this lack of time of more or less 2 days.
Yeah.
But I'm still there. I survived, and tomorrow, fingers crossed that the plane
You're
is
heading back.
going to be on time to LA
Yeah.
because I have to be there on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, things like that definitely happen. But yeah, I was playing a concert talking about if the instrument is functionable. I was playing a concert on a actually really, really great instrument. I assumed, but somehow the left pedal didn't work at all. And also, if you played fast repetitions, so if you press the same note really fast, yeah, it's kind of skipped the note.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a very tough, challenging concert as well. But
Oh,
yeah,
well, talking about pedals, I mean, I was in the eastern part of this world some years ago, and all of a sudden, just, I don't know, 10 minutes before the concert, I explored that the pedal wasn't working really well. And during the concert, it didn't work at all. So, yeah, then you need
okay,
your left hand and to substitute as much as you can. And yeah, as you mentioned, fake it till you make it.
for sure, for sure. Another question that we already got in the chat as well. By the way, if you guys have questions, just put them in the chat comment, and we will try to answer as many as possible. What are your plans? What are your goals for this year? So we were talking about last year. What's your plan this year? As much as you can tell, of course.
Well, as you probably also know, is making plans is always a hard challenge because everything can constantly changing, or is really in a constant change. I mean, yeah, you know, on the phone, new phone call, new, I don't know, email or something, and everything's completely different. My biggest challenges and goals for this year are a CD recording with an orchestra. I cannot
Well,
tell you which orchestra or something about it, but it'll be really great. So I'm looking forward to be a soloist there. What else? Yeah, establishing myself here in the States. I recently signed a contract with a promoting agency there, which or management agency,
congrats.
which is really great. So this really helps me a lot to establish myself here in the States because it's always a difference between touring here and really living
Mhm.
here, make a living of it, and yeah, be kind of part of the scene, the concert scene here in the States. And then, of course, going back to Europe, lots of stuff there. I try to keep up my two homes, which is in
Mm.
Graz and in LA. I always joke because I always say, well, I do it like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but without money. So I also have two houses in LA, haha, and in Graz. Never mind. So this is a kind of personal challenge, what I really wanted to achieve. And of course, fixing everything for my personal CD, like for my solo CD. So this will be also something which is very, very high on my list for this year. What's about
Great.
you?
Well, pretty much the same. Playing a lot of concerts, traveling. There's a lot of stuff planned and still in the making. It's always a mixture on long-term planning and then also be spontaneous from time to time. So yeah, that is that. Then, as I said, recording a lot of small things for Spotify and Co. with my home series. Uh, on one hand, solo. I will start digging into that again as well, and also with my violinist Philip from Munich. So yeah, that's that. Also establish social media even more. Trying to yeah dig into that even further, and yeah, just the usual stuff, I guess. Also playing my Abschluss at some point to finish my studies. And yeah, that is also something that will happen in the first half this year. I have to play two exams. One is a solo recital, about 80 to 90 minutes. And then the other thing is as well, like you do with orchestra, um, not a recording, unfortunately, but still a concert. But yeah, so that's kind of my plans for this year.
That's cool. Well, I just recently read a question down here, and it says, "What do I have to provide?" I mean, I did not find it. I cannot find it anymore. Never mind. What did they have to provide if they would invite us? Like, what do you have to have as a concert promoter? Um, I guess it's also regarding to what should be backstage, what kind of instruments you want to start. What do you expect from a concert promoter when they invite you?
Well, first of all, a tuned instrument. That is the
Me too.
major thing to start with, and then yeah, functionable promotion so that people will show up in the audience, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not picky backstage. What I need is
You don't want
playing.
salmon or something, or a particularly sparkling water,
I don't
something
care.
grapes,
Usually I
melons.
bring everything that I need myself. I'm not that picky yet. But I was playing a concert actually, but who am I to play in front of you? I was playing a concert and the backstage room was like, I don't know, 10 degrees. I mean, that's pretty much your daily work, at least in Europe, if you play in churches. But yeah, I was freezing back then, and then to go back on stage and play fast, heavy pieces, that was, let's say, challenging. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't expect much besides a tuned instrument, and yeah, that everything else is organized and working out. How about you?
Yeah, what I would really love to add, I mean, I fully understand and fully come like be d'accord with you on this, agree on that. The only probably thing I wanted to add is having practice time. So
True,
in order to get adjust
forgot that. Yeah,
to and to adjust to the instrument, and to get used to it, probably you won't need as much as I do because of the registration, what we just mentioned.
that,
But this
that's
is
clear.
also something really important, as well as I really would highly recommend to video, well, record or like broadcast it on big screens, especially when the organ is up the balcony, so that
Mhm.
people cannot see you. But therefore, it's really important to have a huge screen. Because some people are probably not so into organ music, but more into this technical fascination of the organ because it's more or less a huge cockpit, I'd say. And so some people are probably not into music, but they say, "Oh, look what comes
Across
out and
history.
what's in, and you know what you can pull out and push in." So this is something which really helps promoters a lot in order to get people used to organ concerts. Of course, beside the music, of course, beside warm places, churches, concert halls, whatever, of course. But this also really helps, so I highly recommend this as well.
Great. So I have two little things. First is this person already commented like that. Not a question, but I really missed your live streams, which I thought
Oh, thank
is really
you.
kind. So yeah, I actually miss doing these live streams as well, and get in touch with you and talk with you and to cross our communities. So yeah, that's a great thing. And the other thing comes with that actually. Did you finally meet now?
Well,
Yeah. Who wants to
shame
spoil the
on
secrets?
us.
We
No,
didn't.
we don't know
We
each
didn't,
other in person
unfortunately.
yet.
We were trying to in May, I think it was, but you were traveling to LA, I think, May or June, somewhere around that. I think you were on tour. It was not where you moved. But yeah,
Yeah.
we never made it yet. But great that you remembered the person who asked. So,
Yeah.
your
But
turn
we're
again,
trying to. Yeah,
for
so let me know when you're
sure,
in Austria and I will let you know when I'm back in Germany. So
for
let's give it
sure,
another
for sure.
try. I mean, but it's
This year,
yeah,
we're gonna make it happen.
for
That
sure.
would
For sure.
be great.
Yeah. Do
So,
you,
your
do
question, do you have
yeah.
even, sorry?
Yeah,
Say
I
again.
I do have lots of questions here. Well, what is your favorite venue or city that you've performed in and why?
Got the same question. Uh,
All AI
I
generated, probably. Haha.
ChatGPT. um, well, it's difficult to say because like every place has its own story, its own charm. I mean, one of the craziest trips that I did concert-wise was Indonesia. Uh, we were playing a tour there for I think 3.5 weeks actually around Christmas. So also Christmas on the beach is off my bucket list. And yeah, that was just a crazy experience. First of all, because Indonesia is not the first place that you think about talking about classical music, but the people there were so friendly, so nice, so generous, and yeah, I really enjoy the Asian culture, even though every Asian place is kind of different. But Indonesia, unfortunately, is the only one I was traveling to so far. And then, on the other hand, also you don't have to travel that far. So, for example, last year I was playing a lot of concerts on Lake Constance, so Bodensee, and that was just great to travel there, first of all, because the location is so pretty. And second of all, because I used to travel there a lot with my family when I was little. And yeah, now to go back and work there, perform there, was also a really great experience. And it's, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours to drive by car, which is not far at all. So I couldn't say which is the most special one. Um, like every city you travel to can tell its own story. But what about you?
Well, same here. I just read, well, something or just put something down here. I of course like LA, haha. Salt Lake City is cool. I really like this. Asian countries in general, as you already mentioned, and of course Southeast European countries. Because I love people there. I love the audience there. They are so enthusiastic. They love classical music. They are so passionate about it, which really amazes me because I've never experienced this before and after. So I'm going to Russia, to the Ukraine, this last year to Romania, for example, or Kazakhstan, all these countries. I mean, people just love classical music there, and all the
Great.
concerts are fully packed, which of course I think has a great impact on musicians, especially when you can connect with the
Mm,
audience. Sometimes, especially as an organist, it's quite hard because you're on the balcony, the
true.
audience is down there. But especially when you sit up front and there are lots of movable consoles, like movable play tables where, you know, the keys are. Um, you can see the audience, of course, and you can see all these faces. And of course, the full house is always lovely to play in. And yeah, so I would say Asian and Southeastern countries, and like European countries in general, are really my most favorite places to go.
Nice. So, a really deep question that I also got. How do I start a musical career as a newly bachelor student? That is difficult to say
Okay.
in like a few sentences, but maybe you can give one or two advices, inputs, thoughts on what you would answer.
I think I told the story once here, but never mind. I started to play concerts quite, I'd say just by accident, because I was in my probably first year of my bachelor's degree, probably first or second year, and I figured out that I, of course, as everyone, had to play at least 50 up to 60 minutes for my, you know, like for the final exam up front on stage. And especially for an organist with a tracker organ, like a mechanical organ, it's almost the same as a pianist. You need a certain amount of muscles also in your hands, and you need a certain amount of yeah, getting used to play that long. Because when you're playing in a Klassenabend, as we call it, like where all the students, like
Concert.
organ class
Yeah.
or students class, you only play probably one piece, probably two pieces, but that's not a concert, you know? This is probably 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but not for sure, not 60 minutes. And so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, how can I get this type of experience, which I desperately need? Because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to play my final exam. And so I started to reach out to promoters, reach out to churches, to people I knew over Instagram. No, sorry, back then it was, I think, Facebook or
Mm.
Instagram. And so it all started. So it was really not the idea of starting a concert career. It was the idea of getting more practice for my final exam. That how it all started. How's about you?
Um, well, these are two different things on how it started for me and what I would recommend for like how you start a musical career as a bachelor student. So it started for me pretty early actually because I was lucky enough to be in a musical school, um, like not like educational school, but like a school for music, where they really pushed their students a lot into concerts. Got in touch with with many concert organizers and stuff. So I was pretty young when I first started to network and started to uh, understand on what a network can generate, talking about concerts and invitations. And yeah, I really enjoyed talking to new people, meeting new people after concerts as well. So yeah, it started small, obviously. I played a small concert, and someone in the audience was like, "Yeah, I'm celebrating my 60th birthday. Do you want to play there?" And I got, I don't know, 100 euros. So that was also the benefit of being young. But yeah, as a student, I would recommend to really network as well. The earlier that you start, the better. But also to really think about what you want to achieve. So, do you either want to work as a teacher? So then really dig into the pedagogical aspect of like teaching and yeah, I don't know, get some private students very early that you get experience and stuff, That is something I would recommend. Or if you want to be on stage and be a soloist, for example, or play with an ensemble, then meet people and yeah, do chamber music. This is something that I would recommend as well, to play a lot of chamber music, because you learn so much talking to different instrumentalists on how you would phrase, as we were talking earlier today, but also what is possible on the instrument, for example. So for me as a pianist, it's super interesting to talk with you guys playing organ, playing historical instruments, for example, on how to understand how Bach, for example, was thinking of how his music was sounding. And this is something that you can adapt to your own instrument that you play, for, in my case, the piano. So yeah, really dig into that. And then the third advice that I would give, to focus on what your priorities are, because it is so easy to lose track, because a good thing is that you have so many great offers in a university, which is great because you can really study very individually. But on the other hand, it's easy to also lose focus, because you just want to learn too many different things. And so that the main path that you want to follow, either if it's teaching or playing in an orchestra or being a soloist or whatever, the time on your instrument is falling off, for example. So yeah, I guess those would be the three things that I would recommend.
Yeah. And in the end, it's just luck. As always,
True.
it's just being at the right time, at the right spot. Yeah. And it's really hard to give advice, because everyone has to find his or her own path and way. And yeah, I think it's quite hard to give some suggestions, because
Yeah, but
yeah,
also
everyone's
be
different.
consistent as well. I mean, obviously, a lot of things um, are coming together with the luck, but also in German we have a saying, "Das Glück erzwingen." So you force your luck, kind of, by being really consistent. If you go out 1,000 times and talk to your audience after a concert, and try to network with the promoters there, so that they will re-invite you, for example, next year or 2 years or whatever, talking from a concert perspective, then you already achieved so much. But if you don't go out and talk to people, you can be the best at your instrument, but nobody will ever notice, for
Yeah,
example.
exactly. Yeah, I
But
think
if you
it's
keep on trying,
communication. Yeah.
right? But if you keep on trying and trying and trying, at some point things will happen. I'm not saying that you will win the lottery. Of course, that is what everyone dreams about. But that's what I mean by pushing your luck and being consistent and confident that you can achieve it if you put a lot of effort in.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
would fully agree with you on that. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have
Cool.
another question?
Yes, I do have lots of questions. Well, how do you maintain focus and energy during back-to-back performances in different time zones, or even back-to-back performances in general? So it does not even have to be a different time zone. Sometimes it's just, staying in another city, different bed.
Well, this is something that you really have to learn, actually. And last year was one of the first years that I really had to learn it myself. Um, well, it's difficult. It's difficult to say, because everyone is individual, obviously. But I would say taking times off after like a long period of hustling through, taking 1 or 2 days off to just recover also emotionally, because like no matter how much you enjoy being on stage, it's also a lot of adrenaline going through your blood, even though you wouldn't say that you're not nervous, for example. It's still, you're exposed. It's still an extreme situation for your body. So uh, try to learn on how to calm yourself down, especially if you have to go back to back. Like try to calm yourself down before going to sleep, because one of the issues that I had, for example, last year with traveling so much, I was playing concerts at night until I don't know 9 or 10 p.m. And then I had to immediately jump in the car, jump on the train to go to another city, for example. And I got into my hotel room at midnight, and obviously I couldn't sleep
Mhm.
because I was just like my mind was all over the place. But as I said earlier, I was doing a lot of educational concerts, so I had to be back on educational stage at I don't know 8 or 9 in the morning. So
Oh,
with almost no sleep, that was definitely not healthy. So this is what I mean. Be individual about yourself. Try and listen what your body needs. Um, it is fine if you power through 1 or 2 weeks. It is completely fine. Everybody can go through that. But after that, really figure out some time for yourself.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's also something, I mean, what is the most important thing, I think, is to have a private, stable environment.
True as
So
well.
probably
Yeah.
people to whom you can talk after a concert, or even before, something which gives you a kind of normalcy and something which gives you also kind of rest, especially in busy times. And of course, not every single pillow in every single hotel is the best. And sometimes, of course, something hurts, or yeah, but that's part of the game, I'd say. So, I mean, as always, two sides of the coin. There is always advantage, of course, because you see lots of cities, probably in different countries, probably in different time zones, but you also have to pay the price for it, which is, for example, I'm completely out of my rhythm because I came from Austria to LA, was
Mm.
there for not even a week, like 9 hours time change, then to Mississippi, which is 7 hours,
Mm.
then back, no, then to here, which is 6 hours now, and then back to LA. So I'm, which has also advantages because I can sleep whenever I want and I wake up whenever I want because I have no inner clock anymore. Um, but on the other side, as you mentioned, the most important thing is to take times off. And that's also the reason why, for example, I booked my flights on Monday in order to have 1 or 2 days off kind of here. And I originally, I mean, as we know, it was not possible, but I originally wanted to practice a bit, also other repertoire, just walking on the beach, um, doing kind of nothing. That's, of course, not always possible. So my time schedule was now completely different. But I think the most important thing is to have a stable, private environment which you can call, with which or people with whom you can talk to. I think this is the most important thing in order to get also mentally down and be also prepared for the next concert the next day. Yeah.
True. True. Totally agree. So another question that I got, which is really interesting as well. What school degree do you have, and would you recommend finishing school if you play an instrument? What would you say?
Yeah. Oh, me? Oh, God.
Well, you said first.
Well, what do I have? I do have a bachelor's and a master's in organ performance, and a bachelor's and master's in cultural and management. What is it? Cultural and media management. That's the word. Yes, so these are my 4 degrees, and I'm currently doing a DMA, Doctoral Musical Arts, here in LA. Do I need these degrees? No. Is it good to have them just in case? Yes. Um, do we need it in order to play concerts? No, of course not. I mean, no one will ask you. Well, I had one situation where a promoter asked me to show whether I have, I think that was bachelor's, I think, whether I have my bachelor's or not, or something like this. But no, usually really not. I mean, yeah, it's all how you can play. And if you can play, of course,
Mm,
and this is all what really counts, not what education you got. But once again, you never know. I mean, you can break your arm or do something else to yourself. So it's always good, first of all, to finish your degrees, and second of all, to have degrees.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that's my opinion on that. Yours?
Well, there's pretty much nothing to add, but one thing also, if you're talking about the pedagogical side, if you want to apply for jobs as a teaching position, um, like for example in a music school, nobody cares if you play 1,000 concerts. The only thing that matters is on what is your degree, for example. That's a bit different if you try to get into a professorship in a university, being a professor there, because then both things kind of matter. First of all, who you are, what is your um, CV, but also I think I can only assume, since I'm not a professor yet, that it can be important to show on how you did in a university environment, for example. So I would definitely say um, finish your studies no matter what. Try to yeah, put both under one blanket, kind of. And the luxury we have as a musician is we don't immediately need the Abschluss, the degree, so we can postpone it as long as we kind of wish. I mean, it's a different story in the US for obviously, because you have to pay a lot of money there. In Germany, it costs barely anything. We have the luxury here as well as in Austria, for example. But yeah, definitely finish your studies. Same with school, actually. I was considering on finishing school early, not doing my Abitur, my A levels. But at the end, I'm very happy that I did it. Even though my bachelor's, my master's degree is way more, uh, yeah, important to have, obviously. But it's still good to have, because you never know, as you said, on what's going to happen, or if you change your mind and you want to dig into something else concerning music, not concerning music, whatever. So it's always good to have something on a sheet of paper.
That's true. Well, amen. I think we have to finish because I think there are only 1.5 minutes
No,
left as far as I
no
see here.
there's no limit anymore, I think.
Oh,
I
see, I
think
should do it more
well,
often. Oh, I thought
maybe.
there is an hourly limit.
I don't think so. Maybe we're gone in I don't know 60 seconds, but I don't think so actually. But
Okay,
I
good.
take it
Good.
on my fault if it's not working.
I believe you now because I was in a hurry. Well, I have a last question, I'd say. Yeah, exactly. As a touring artist, you guys, how do you balance your professional commitments with your life and well-being?
Well, deep question, and I think that will always change from time to time because uh, every phase of your life can be different. Um, but yeah, try to enjoy your working part as much as possible. Try to get into freedom, as we were talking about, after concerts, before concerts, and yeah, also create room for your private life, which is really important, because at the end of the day, almost nobody wants to be alone, either in relationships or with friends or whatever, family. Uh, we don't really want to be completely alone as human beings. So create freedom for that, create space for that, which is also important as artists, actually, because in talks, no matter on what the topic is, if it's just for fun, if it's like inspirational talks, whatever, you learn a lot of things, and your mind is gets new input, and also your mind get rest, which is important as artists, what we are at the end of the day. Of course, there's a lot of technical aspects to that as well, to our job. But yeah, this is what I would say, pretty much.
I'm here. I fully agree on that. I think in the end, what really matters is how can you rely on, and this is really something which most people would consider as a private life, like somebody or more people, less people, I don't know, who you can talk to, etc. And I think work is really important, but just for till a different stage is reached, I'd say. Because of course we are fighters, like lonely fighters on stage, but therefore it's even more important to have people backstage and to have people to whom you can talk to and to who you can trust more or less, and who you can tell all your concerns, your joy, of course, because after concerts, of course, quite often there's lots of joy, and you want to, communicate this to someone, and I think therefore it's really important to have a stable private life.
Definitely. It was great to talk to you again. It was really
Thank you.
For sure.
Awesome. We did it. And I hope that we could do it soon again. Probably next month. Probably we could set up a monthly talk or something. So because as you mentioned, I think last time it must have been May or something last year. So unbelievable.
Way too long. Way too long.
Cool.
But yeah, if you guys have any topics that you want us to talk, let us know either via DMs or in comments all over social media. We will definitely try to get into your ideas as well. And yeah, it was great to talk to you, and good luck for your concert tonight.
Thank you so much.
That everything will
have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.